Welcome to the Catalyst Life Coaching Podcast with John Kim and Noelle Cordeaux. If you're inspired to begin your own life coaching practice or just want to learn a little bit more about what it's all about, visit JRNI.co. That's JRNI.co for more information. Your adventure awaits.
Hey guys, it's a brand new year, and a brand new year means a fresh start. Noelle, how are you going to have a fresh start this new year?
That's a really good question. I think I don't know the answer to it. You may have stumped me for the first time in our history.
Thank you for listening, guys. I hope you listen to our next episode, which will be a little bit longer.
How are you going to have a fresh start this new year?
You know what? I heard this amazing story yesterday on another podcast about a company, some guy who created charity water. And this is really interesting. So he tried to do a different model with a charity as far as business. He created two accounts, and one account is just for pure donations. So when you donate, you know exactly where your money's going. And then the other account is for like payroll, toner and office supplies. It's to keep the ship moving. And so at one point he had $800,000 of donations in one account, and he had $111 in the other account. And the promise he made to the people that donated, and the whole business model concept, which was refreshing, was that he would never touch the donation money. Right, the donation money was pure and go straight to the charity. So he was left with a dilemma on what to do, and people were like, "Why don't you just take a loan from your donation money, since you have $800,000, and put it into your, the money to pay the payroll and your employees, and keep this thing going." And he didn't want to do that, and he was going to almost close everything down. And I think 2 or 3 days later, he was at a party. He was talking to this person. He showed him his model and how passionate he was about changing the charity system, because there's a lot of shady charities. And the guy wrote him $1 million check.
Wow. And
me pointing out that story is that I think that if you, one, the power of belief, right? Holding on to what you believe, and not letting go. Like it's that whole, integrity piece. But also like trusting that where you're going and what you're doing, it may not look like the way you want it to, but sometimes shit just works out.
It never does look like the way you want it to,
No,
ever.
I know.
Never. It never does. And I think that's okay, because there's such beauty in the nuance of, what turned out differently.
Yes, and I was like putting myself in his shoes, and I was like, what would I do? I mean, I think I would have folded. I mean, I would have.
Well, that's why you have me, John. That's why I am your business partner.
Exactly. Yes. So that is my fresh start for the new year, is actually to hold on to Noelle.
There you go. When in doubt, ethically call Noelle.
Yes.
That is your job.
It's interesting that like as humans, we have structured, with year and month and week and day, that it's it's every year that comes up, it's like you actually have an opportunity to be different or to think different, but it's kind of it's a mirage. It's not really there's nothing that's going to change unless you wanted to change this year.
That's so true.
Yeah.
A lot of people do words for the new year. And I came up with words. My words are ease, discipline, and prosperity.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're choosing words, because it doesn't have to be so it could just be something you're swimming toward.
Absolutely. And then a couple different mottos that came out of things that an old friend of mine, I was having a conversation and I was telling him about our business and how much I loved it. And he looked at me and said, "I'm really proud of you. Now I want you to drive it like you stole it."
Oh, I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
So I put that in a little
with
frame.
integrity.
With integrity. And I was screwing around on Instagram, and I saw a quote that just like resonated with me so deeply. It was, "Make money, not friends."
Oh, this is a new side. This is a new side of you.
I know. So here we have ease, prosperity, and discipline.
Wait, let's go through.
Drive.
Wait, let's go through those. So ease,
Yeah.
okay, so describe ease.
So ease is, I think, a sense of openness. Ease is being open to trusting, as you know, as
Mm,
you described, having
right.
ease in my relationships, having ease in our business transactions, having integrity
Yeah.
in everything that we do, and just really letting things flow instead of trying to control them.
Yeah. That's
And
necessary for sure.
then discipline is straight literal definition of the word. Mind, body, spirit,
Mm.
practices, meditation, fitness, food, sleep.
Oh, I like that you took, because when you said discipline, I was just thinking of work structure, but you pulled back and you talked about you're talking about spirituality, you're talking about food. I mean, you're talking about life discipline.
Yes, life discipline of keeping my body and my brain and my spirit in good shape so that I can physically execute all of the things that I need to physically execute.
Okay, let's talk briefly, real quick. I think this is so important. When we want to get shit done for the new year, I think we're so sometimes focused on the task or, the thing that we're building. We actually forget about our life. And I
Yes.
think this is great because I think that if you do have discipline with other areas of your life, it changes it changes the quality of your life, right? I mean, one example is just obviously self-care, and then you're going to be better at what you're doing.
And it doesn't just have to be, it doesn't have to be self. It can involve others as well. So
Mm,
for me, discipline is also making sure that I stop working and tend to my home and my family life. And that
yeah,
when my husband comes home from work, I put my computer away and we have a conversation
right.
about our day, and that the phones go away, and that we are disciplined in living together and building that relationship in our home.
Yeah, I love that. So like boundaries, right?
Yeah, boundaries and the recognition that every single aspect of your life takes care.
Mm. I mean, you're right. I mean, if you are, if you have if you have tremendous discipline at work and you're, um, you have structure and you're very productive, but if you're everything outside of work, your life is a complete mess. Eventually, it's going to be like a virus that's going to get into your work, right? You
Exactly.
can't build a wall high enough.
Exactly. And you won't be so the three pillars of happiness are achievement, which is mental and physical.
Yeah.
And the second pillar is contentment, mindfulness, being present. And the third pillar is hedonic, which is fun, pleasure, happiness.
Mm,
So if you're out of balance, if you're drastically out of balance, you're not ever going to really feel happy and whole. And people always wonder, what's wrong with me? Why can't I find happiness? Why can't I find contentment? And I'm like, well, are you working at 80% in one area and ignoring the others?
hmm.
What's going on?
I love it. If you're listening, think about what balance looks like in your life and what part of your life that you need more discipline in.
Yes, yes. And you wanted to talk about integrity today. Where did that come from? What stimulated it?
My own lack of no,
No.
the story I heard. I thought like, here's a guy who is has this model of what is fair as far as a startup, a charity, and his he held on to his beliefs and what he thought was right. And then I thought to myself, life coaches, their practice is their startup. It's their own business, and then I started to think, what does it look like to have integrity? And then I also kind of looked in the mirror myself, like, do I have integrity as an entrepreneur, as a life coach, all of that stuff. So that's kind of where it came. But before we get into that, what's your final one? You said
Oh,
ease.
prosperity.
Oh, prosperity. Because well, that's mine too. And
Prosperity. Make
the,
money, not friends. Drive it like I stole it.
and let me ask you this: is so knowing you and your story, I feel like that might be a new one.
I knew. Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
you never wanted
I mean,
prosperity before.
you know me pretty well. Prosperity, I think, comes in many forms. And prosperity is having good, rich, and deep friendships. Prosperity is having a comfortable and clean and well tended to house.
Yeah.
Prosperity is having food that you love and people that you love to break bread with. Prosperity is work and financial gain. And
Right.
I think I'm such a fluffy person that
Yeah.
what's been missing a little bit for me is the sharpness and the focus. And I wondered what would happen if I infused my own life with that.
Mm. Well, I disagree with you in that you are very sharp. Um, I love that you, because I think, maybe a few years ago it would be make friends, not money. And
Right.
and now you flipped it. I mean, I think it's great to have both, but I'm kind of curious now, if that's one of your words, how that's going to ripple in your behavior, and curious to see what that's going to look like you as far as how you push yourself and your potential and all the things you're going to learn as entrepreneur, etc. So that's exciting. It's actually one of my words too this year.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad we're in lockstep there, you know?
Yes.
Um, and
Absolutely.
and back to the integrity thing, like I think that the reason that you and I have been really long-standing partners in business and coaching, like 7 years, that's a long time,
Yeah, it is.
is because we have the same moral compass, and neither one of us would ever be willing to screw the other over if in the name of the almighty dollar.
Yeah, and you know what? We can disagree on everything, right? Like any detail, whatever. But that we can't disagree on because that
Right.
that is what will crumble our house of cards.
100%. And I think over the years, time and time and time again, we've both shown each other like, no, we're always going to be the real imperfect human and have the conversation.
Yeah. So, the other thing is I feel a responsibility to our life coaches to hold that kind of
Yes.
space, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, when you have 400 people on the other side of this thing, it's not something you walk away from.
Yes. And so then the question is, how do we have integrity and hold that for our life coaches?
For me, it's about being honest.
Hmm.
And when somebody asks me a question and I don't fucking know, I say, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
For me, it's when somebody says, I really want to do this. I say, that's a great idea. I can't support you right now. I don't have enough to give.
Mm.
And to kind of pull the veil back and say, this is how hard it is to run a business. This is what exists. And to just never bullshit anyone.
Yeah. I think it's about never pretending to be someone that we're not.
Exactly.
Whether individually or as a company. And I think a lot of companies do that because they want they want money, they want approval, they want something shiny that they could stick on their door, and I think that loses trust.
It does. It does lose trust, and it's also inefficient. And if you dig your heels in so hard to an image, it doesn't allow you to pivot and change quickly when you need to.
Right. I gotta say, it's one of the things that I think I'm the most proud of with our Cat House Life Coaching Intensive is that we've been doing this for about 7 years, and at the heart of it, it hasn't really changed in the spirit of it. Yes, it's
No,
grown, right? But
the spirit of it is we will always be pirates.
yeah, I think that should be our new motto.
No,
And
so now we have make money, not friends, drive it like you stole it, and always be a pirate.
we will always be pirates. I love it. So, well, here's the thing. I mean, we are a company. We do have partnerships. We just got ICF certified. Like all that stuff is great, right? But the spirit of it, that can be uniquely us.
Yes, I agree. And that'll never change because it's kind of the heartbeat of everything that we do. In music, I always like the offbeat. I like
Mm,
the downbeat. I like the bass beat. I listen for the lower, grittier sound. And I think that's the vibration that I live on. And I think that's what I bring to our equation is I will not be happy if I have to fit into a box.
yeah. But I think that's also what's going to. Well, I think that's what makes people stand out. That company stand out, and going back to my story, it was what made his company stand out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do we need to start a charity fund now?
Maybe, I mean, maybe eventually. I mean, the whole idea. I also like this whole idea of giving, and I think that money comes and goes, and when you do things that are good for the world and good for people, and it's coming from a right place, I think Paris, say that word again. I totally forgot it. What's your third word?
Ease, prosperity, and discipline.
Yeah. I took some CBD oil last night, and I can't spoke this morning.
Awesome, John.
Paris, oh my God, I can't say it. But anyway, that's what I think gets your company to thrive is pulling from your heart, giving without losing yourself, and having great integrity.
Agreed. Well, my friend, I want you to take your day and drive it like you stole it.
Yes, I love that. All right, you too. And if you're listening, it's a brand new year. It's a fresh start. Think of 3 words. And I gotta say, this is actually a great tool if you're coaching clients. What are 3 words that not only logically, but something that you actually feel in your body? And then the next question is, what would it look like to start swimming toward those words in action? And not just one time, but a thread into your life, a daily thing. So thank you for that tip, Noelle. And I'm looking forward to ease, discipline, and prosperity this year with you.
Woohoo! Awesome.
All right, be well.
I'll talk to you soon.